Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today I have a new story to tell you. The story of Brihadeeswara Temple, Thanjavur. Arguably one of the greatest temples ever built. And it is probably the grandest temple that is still usable, completely functional, and I can go on and on about it. I was there last year on the last day of the year, 31st of December 2022, and I was blown away. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of story here about the kind of land grab, encroachment, and conversion factories that have come up around this temple thanks to the Dravida rule. It is not just one party, both ADMK and DMK are guilty of this. But let's first take a look at what is this temple and a little bit of history around this temple. Here we go. Thanjavur Brihadeeswara Temple. The temple's Gopuram is 66 meters tall. That is right, 66 meters tall. It was built in the 11th century by Raja Raja Chola, arguably one of the greatest Chola kings, and I think it was 1011 AD when it was completed. And it is believed to have taken 12 years or 15 years. It doesn't matter. Today, this temple and about 100 other temples in and around this area are administered by the king of Thanjavur. By the way, this king is a direct descendant of Chhatrapati Maharaj Shivaji Maharaj. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. His name is 𝗣𝗚𝗃 Raja Bhonsle, and he inherited this temple in a situation where there wasn't enough money to even do daily puja. In fact, in 1984, and I have given you the references in the description section, there are lots of references. You can go take a look at it. This temple is very unique, and I'm going to come to that in just one moment. But before all that stuff, please like this video. I have spent hours doing the research on this, and I want to do everything, give you a capsule of 10 minutes for you to go and take a look at and absorb it. This must make it into your bucket list. One of the greatest temples ever built in India. Okay, so let's get back to 𝗣𝗚𝗃 Raja Bhonsle. He was all of 17 years old when his father suddenly passed away, and then reality hit him. There was not enough money to run these temples. Many of the farmers who were supposed to be giving rice to the temple and also keep some for tilling the land were not doing it. It was one lawsuit after another, and this young kid who was also an engineering student had to go through heck and hell and hell high water before he could establish a semblance of control. And today this temple is in reasonably good shape. I can only say reasonable because I'm going to show you some disturbing information, and your blood will boil when you hear about it, when you see what is happening to this great temple. Now, the unique thing about this temple is you see this Gopuram, right? It is 66 meters tall. Yet at noontime, the shadow of the Gopuram never falls outside the temple structure. In other words, nobody can tread on the Gopuram. How did they build it? That is one of the engineering marvels. And I'm going to share with you some more marvels about this structure in the forthcoming slides. But if you just look at the grandeur of the Nandi that sits facing the Shiva Lingam, so huge. Just to give you an idea, you can see a person standing there. That's about 5 feet. So Nandi is about at least comfortably 6 to 7 times the size of the human being. So it's about 35 feet. Very, very big Nandi. And beautiful, majestic Nandi facing the Shiva Linga, and the Shiva Lingam itself is 15 feet tall, and the base is 22 feet wide. And you can see here the priests have gone up to the upper stairs to perform Abhishekam. They are doing milk Abhishekam, I think, and you can see the Nagas giving shelter to Lord Shiva. And it is also believed that the Abhishekam water from this, you can't see it. You don't know where it goes. Well, there is a lake, or there's a canal. It's actually a fort. This temple is built inside a fort, and that's what makes it very interesting. I'm going to share that information also with you. This temple is built in a fort, and what has been happening to that is what I'm going to talk about next. So the important thing, 11th century structure, built by Raja Raja Chola, and an engineering marvel. Why do I say it's an engineering marvel? Here is a 3D structure of this temple. Do you see how beautifully the geometric lines are laid out? How did they do it? And such a huge complex. And the gopuram, the top, it's only two halves put together, and each one weighs tons. How did they take it up there? There are two stories about that. One is that they built a circular ramp around the gopuram and then had elephants pull it. Or the other story is that they made one ramp that starts about 12 miles or 12 kilometers from here and then works with, you had a gentle ramp, and that elephants were used to haul the stones. The temple itself is built using granite, and here's the interesting part. There is no granite quarry even close to 100 kilometers around this temple. So imagine how much granite was hauled in, and by whom, and how long it would have taken. The amount of work, the kind of sculptures that are there, unbelievable. I'm going to share some more information about the beauty of this temple. So this is the 3D image of the temple, and this is the actual structure. And if you look at the gopuram itself, it is in fact hollow. You know, when you go to the Garbhagriha, where you are standing in front of the idol like this one, and I was lucky enough to be this close to see the Abhishekam being done. Just to the left, as you see this Shivalingam, just to the left, there's a door that has been sealed by the Archaeological Society of India. But if you go inside the door, if you get permission and you go inside, first of all, there is a painting of Raja Raja Chola along with his Rajaguru. And this was not known to anyone till 1967. Can you believe it? This was locked and sealed. Nobody knew that this existed. So in 1967, they found out that this was there. But there is more. As you go inside, now what people have seen, and this is Padma Bhushan Dr. Nagaswamy who explained it to me. He was actually working on this book, on this, when he suddenly passed away. Very unfortunate. I'm hoping that his children would complete this book. I'll keep you posted on it. What he described to me was mind-blowing. What he said was that this gopuram is not a completely built structure. It is hollow inside, and as you go your way, wind your way up to the top, you can see a lot of dance mudras. This is 11th century. Bharatanatyam and many other dance forms. And in fact, he said that this temple was not just a Sanatana temple, a Hindu temple, but it was a universal temple. And that was the theme of his book. Unfortunately, that has not been completed. I'll keep you posted when this book gets completed. The point I'm trying to make is this was one of the greatest, if not the greatest temples ever built in India. And now here comes some very interesting information. Take a look at these four tall structures, guys. The first one is Big Ben in London. This was built in 1858, and it is already listing by 0.26 inches, meaning like it is not straight, it is listing to one side. The Brihadeeswara Temple, built in 11th century. See how accurate it is. Zero lift. It is not tilting in any direction. Imagine the amount of work that went into figuring out where to build a temple just built with granite. Granite is one of the heaviest rocks known to mankind. And this gopuram doesn't list. Then you have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, 3.99 degrees. And that was built in 1264, I think. 1264, that is correct. And then you have the Surhasen Tower in Germany that was built in 1450, and that lists 5.2%. I'm sorry, 5.2 degrees. When you see so much, inaccuracies, how did the Cholas build such a grand temple? Right? Now comes the bad news. This is the layout in Google Maps. If you go and do a Google Maps of Thanjavur Brihadeeswara Temple, this is what you will see. I don't know how many of you are clearly able to see it. You may want to use your, if you are watching it on a smartphone, use it in landscape mode so you can see the actual structure. And I'm going to zoom in. I can't zoom in, unfortunately, but I'm going to tell you what is going on there. So this whole thing, on three sides, it is surrounded by water. So there is a moat built around it. On the fourth side is the entrance to the temple. And the first lower blocks is the actual temple. There is if you look at it from a satellite picture, it is clear here. You can see the temple wall, the fort. It's called as rampart. It is all the way around this big structure, right? Now, if you go back and look at this, see what is happening there. There is a water sports ride, and disturbingly, there is a church inside the compound. Who allowed this to be built? The whole thing belongs to Raja Raja Brihadeeswara. This is temple property. Who built that thing? Who allowed that to be built? Now they need to be evicted. You think that's possible? A lot of the property around the temple belongs to the temple, and there are many cases going on. People they just go and grab the land and then they just occupy. They go and modify land registry records. It's eternal hell, guys. And not only that, if you observe closely, there is another church right outside, and there's also a mosque. What business do these people have? This is one of the most holiest shrines of Shaivism. How did all this happen? This has happened over a period of years. I'm not going to blame just the current DMK government for it, but I'm just trying to awaken all of us and realize that there is a lot of danger right now. If we don't take action, this is going to be completely overrun. This area is ripe for conversion. It's a conversion factory. I don't know if I told you this or not, but any land that comes up for sale along the Kaveri River, this is not very far from Kaveri River, by the way. It is, 2-3 kilometers, that's it. So it's very, very close to, maybe not that close, but it's not very far. Let me put it that way. And the water comes from the Kaveri River. It is believed that the Abhishekam water, the Abhishekam that you do for the temple, for Shivaling, it goes into and merges into another river. I don't know the exact details for that. If anyone has information, please share with it. The most important thing here is this is how land is being grabbed, guys. These are not just other religious groups. Even our own grab land because they go and bribe the local politician and what have you. This new scheme, the new method of new phenomenon that is happening is that if you give land to a church to build a Christian organization to build a church, they promise you that all their votes will fall, and the MLA finds a way, or MLA or the MP finds a way to somehow steal land that belongs to the temple and give it to them. It is really, really a huge travesty of justice. These are our temples. And not only that, along the Kaveri River, any land that is coming up for sale is being grabbed by one community. This community is willing to pay 3 to 4 times the asking price. Why wouldn't anyone want to sell? Not only that, they're also coming up with fake claims that according to some work board, they own land. Do you remember that other Tiruchirur or something like that with 𝗣𝚉 Sriram that I did once before? Tiruvachur. I'm not getting the name correctly. Pardon me for that. But this is what is happening today. And how long are we going to keep quiet? And these rascals want to destroy Sanatana Dharma. They don't even make any bones about it. This is the situation now. In fact, we've all talked about Chidambaram a lot. How far is Chidambaram from here? Just 77 miles, 125 odd kilometers, 2.5 hours by car. This whole area between Tiruchirappalli, Thanjavur, Chidambaram, Viluppuram, all the way up to Chennai, rich with temples, great heritage. Some of the temples go back thousands of years. The Madurai Meenakshi temple, the Sundareshwar, which is the Ishwar Rupa there, is 3,000 years old. Meenakshi is 2,000 years old. And there is a temple right in Chennai, Thiruvalmikiyur, and there's another Ishwara temple, Maruthishwara temple. It's also believed to be at least 2,000 years old. Valmiki, the name of the suburb is called Thiruvalmikiyur, but it's got messed up, and now it's called Thiruvanmiyur. But it is actually named after Valmiki Maharshi, who's supposed to have come and prayed to Lord Shiva there. That's how old this temple is. So these are some of the clear and present dangers that Sanatana Dharma faces in Tamil Nadu. The sooner we get rid of the Dravida element, I have no partiality here. I think DMK and ADMK both are the same type of people who are interested in grabbing our land and killing our culture. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm going to quickly go through and see if there are any questions. Let me see. Well, there are some interesting comments coming about. Here we go. Purnima Wagh says, this is why it is imperative to get rid of Waqf board immediately and free all Sanatani temples also. This should be priority in the new session of parliament. I don't know, Purnima, if that's going to be so easy. One of the things that the government will say is, who are we going to give it to? And this is a question that has been answered, yet they'll keep asking. In fact, one of the justifications given by the BJP government for taking over the temples in Uttarakhand was that they said that many of the temples in Uttarakhand were being mismanaged. Anyway, that has been rescinded, but this is one of the excuses given by government. So it doesn't matter which government it is, unless people stand up and say that we know how to run our temples. Thank you very much. We will devise a way that will make sure that the lands are kept in control and that the temples are run the way they ought to be run according to Agama Shastras. This will keep on happening. Another thing that the DMK keeps doing, the DMK does more, ADMK less of this, is to force people to push out all the Brahmin priests from these temples. The idea is that once the priests are out, then slowly the murtis will start getting stolen, people will stop going, and then that place becomes rich for conversion. You know now, Udayanidhi has not denied it. This guy has become a Christian. So he is essentially peddling Christian interests in Tamil Nadu. Wake up and smell the coffee. Thank you, Mayank, for your nice generous donation. Why do people of TN not take pride in Raja Raja Chola and Pallavas? Well, you know, it's been around for a long time. And in fact, a typical day, if you step out in any town, any village in Tamil Nadu, right, you will see people going about their business and they'll have tilak or vibhuti like the way I am wearing. And they're very religious. But somehow the DMK has managed to put the kibosh and managed to usurp land slowly but steadily. A lot of work needs to be done to reclaim these lands. I'm not going to say that it's easy to do. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be like pulling teeth, but you have to start somewhere, and this needs to happen sooner rather than later. I have a few more questions, and I want to take care of those. Here we go. Purnima has another question. What is the Archaeological Survey of India doing to preserve these temples? That should be a priority for this organization. I think this is a UNESCO heritage site. To that extent, the temple is preserved, but there are always constant pinpricks. I told you that the Raja of Thanjavur manages these temples and 100 other temples around it, and they have one executive officer who has no job. The temple is completely and well managed by the king and his administration. Yet these people want to poke their nose in. And on a typical day, 3,000 devotees visit the temple. On special festivals, about 20,000. So it's a decent sized temple. It's not Tirupati level. It is not probably going to be Ram Mandir whenever Ram Mandir is functioning. But this temple could easily accommodate a lot more. But what is happening is that once you let the HR and CE in, then you know what's going to happen. They're going to try and milk this thing also, what little money that is coming. Still, a lot of cases in litigation, things are not clear yet. Many people are hanging on to illegally possessed lands. And this is the story of every prosperous temple in Tamil Nadu. I heard that the Kapaleshwara Temple was previously located in the place where the present St. Thomas Basilica is. Yes, San Thome Church, it's called. You are absolutely right, Octo Libre. So what happened was, I think 16th century or 15th, Krishnadeva was late 15th century or 16th century. I'm not exactly sure about the date and time, but it is believed that Sri Krishnadeva fought the Portuguese on both coasts, west coast and east coast. And what the early Portuguese had done was, there was the 𝗣𝗲𝗆 temple on the coast. They destroyed the temple, and on top of that, they built the church, what is now called a Santhom Church, which is bang in the middle of the city of Chennai. And when Krishnadeva reclaimed it, he did not break down he did not destroy the church. Instead, he built the 𝗣𝗲𝗆 temple a little bit inside. And he brought some of the stones from there to build the new temple. In fact, there are still some stones back near the Santhom Church which are from the old 𝗣𝗲𝗆 temple. This is proven. Okay, there are no doubts about it. And these people keep saying that the minorities are being discriminated. What bunkum are they talking about? I mean, once I start getting into some of these facts, right, my blood starts boiling, guys. Just, I want more, I want more, I want more. I will give you the votes you want, and therefore I will do whatever I want. Laws don't apply to me. This is the mindset of the minorities. The mindset needs a huge reset. UCC is what I call it. Uniform Civil Code. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Whenever they do it, we'll see. Thank you, Hindian. And Prafulla Behera, thank you for the valuable information. I went to Hampi. Deepak says, I went to Hampi recently. The condition in which the temple is maintained is very saddening. Ancient walls have been broken to add lights. Yeah, this is very, very careful. This needs to be done very carefully. You need to identify the kind of stone that was used to build the temple, and you need to be gentle with how you essentially put things to like light it and so on. Many of these are naturally lit and also naturally ventilated, like air breeze comes in and goes. But there needs to be work needs to be done. You can put some lights, but there are gentle ways to do this lighting. I have to look at the Hampi temple. The last time I went there was about 30 years ago. I have good memories, but I don't remember seeing the temple function though. Belur, Halibid, I don't think those temples were functioning. We should learn from Europeans how to maintain heritage. They have no heritage at all, and yet they project all the recent stuff as their history. Thanks, Deepak. Professor Sethuraman says, JVC Sriram sir spoke about Tiruchendurai temple. I knew it was Tiruchendur or something, the Tiruchendurai temple. Thank you so much, Professor Sethuraman. This temple and the land around it, Waqf has laid claim to it. And that is also going through a controversy. I think there is a temporary pause, but they are chomping at the bit. They'll come back and try and steal it one way or the other. But I think I told you a story about one sub-registrar in Chennai who belongs to the Islamic faith, who has been essentially recording all transactions and then routing some in the way of his people. And that's not a good thing. You are a government official. You are not doing your duty. The details of that was given in one of the annual program speeches of Tughlaq by Sri Gurumurthy. If you need to, you can go back and watch that to get more information on that. This is wrong. Bad, very bad. UCC is a must because people's mind has to be set that, the laws apply the same to everybody. Nobody's special. Shockwave says, in India, all Hindu land and government land is free to grab by special religions because according to Indian secularism, Hindu citizens don't deserve anything and all India still belongs to Abraham. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. Somewhere somebody needs to make a stand, and this is happening. T.R. Rameshji is fighting the valuable fight, trying to make sure that some of these processes are set right, but it's just one man. Temple Worshipper Society is trying to build. They need a lot of funding, and this is where things are stuck. Everybody is strapped for cash, and if you don't have cash, even basic things such as filing a court case, you have to copy documents, you have to go and do research, establish ownership correctly. You have to go and read stone inscription, read books written by experts such as Dr. Nagaswamy. So all these things take time, effort, and money and patience. And this is where things are really right now, because you can't take arms and then say that, okay, I know this church is illegal, I'm just going to bulldoze it. Of course, if it comes to that, if they can win it in the court, I'm sure that church inside, which is, I showed you this, right? Let me show you again. The church inside this, that needs to go. This whole thing, the whole area inside that fort complex is the temple property. And we have to see when that will happen. But it is essential that be reversed. This is not the only place, by the way. I've also talked about what has happened in Madurai, Vandiyur, where a Roman Catholic church stands, and this is illegal. They bought it, but they bought it from somebody who did not own the place in the first place. I've put a full story on that, including the timeline. And that property is completely belonging to the Madurai Meenakshi Temple, and it is today worth 3,000 plus crores, if not more. That was 2 years ago when I wrote the article. I'm sure it has gone up now. Anything is possible. Hindian says, will this be sold to a private party? Anything is possible. Ramanathan Nagarajan says, how to join and make donation to your social work? Well, you can go to paypal.me/pgurus. If you go to the description section, Ramanathan, in any of our videos, we give you a lot of details where you have more than one ways to contribute or donate to our cause. And you can choose the one that you are comfortable with and move from there. RJ Nathan says, minus ancient Hindu traditional temple, Tamil Nadu would have been a barren desert land, so-called temple city of Tamilagams. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Sivarama Brahmareddy Rami Reddy. Entire South is going to be converted as the rulers are bent upon destroying Hinduism to increase their vote bank. Hindus are not still realizing the danger to their existence. I think they realize it, and I think what they are up against now is entrenched money. And how did they get that money? You should read my books, Who Painted My Money White. That gives you a very, very big idea about what happened over the UPA misrule. And as to how the other group gets money, the FCRA that has been abused, and that's how they got their money. At least the Modi government came in and put a stop in one way. I'm hearing that there are other ways in which they are bringing money in. So that needs to be stopped too. And this is not going to be easy. At the same time, the efforts are being made. Automation of GST is a huge step in the right direction, because now income tax organizations can in fact question facades that are actually come up now saying that they actually do software for foreign companies. It's just nothing but donation money for conversion. Who's going to check software, right? If company A says I delivered the software and company B says, yeah, I accepted it, it works, and here is $100,000 for the effort, who's going to check, right? This thing also is going to be broken. We need to allow BJP to come back to power in 2024. I know we're not happy with some of the things that BJP doesn't do or does. At the same time, they are up against it. It's not so easy. These are entrenched mafias, and they don't let go of so easily because the money came in easy and they've already built palaces. Vidyut Kargutkar wants to say, Southern India hasn't faced the horror of the rest of us did in North, West and Eastern India. Sometimes I wonder if people in South realize how lucky they are to have such phenomenal temples. Vidyut, yes and no. Why I say no is because the intensity was not as bad as the Northeast and South, Northeast and the West. But what has happened in the South is when Malik Kafur came, he was a boyfriend of Alauddin Khilji, I think. And he laid waste. He went all the way down to Madurai, and everywhere he was plundering, pillaging, raping, destroying, and amazing amount of destruction. To the extent that even today, agricultural land are still discovering new Natarajas, new Shivalingas, because these were all buried to hide it from Malik Kafur, 13th century or 14th century. Srirangam, the Ranganathan had to be carted away, hidden, till this invasion went back. So a lot of things have happened. South also has undergone a fair amount of, may not be in the same level as the North, but yes, maybe that's one reason why the South is a little complacent. That's why probably the conversion engine started there. HR and CE departments exist in every state, and they are equally corrupt. Remember now that every department in the government is corrupt. And because of that, many other people are also corrupt. Even private enterprises are quite corrupt now. And what it means to the average citizen is that there is a tax of 20%. Professor RV has computed this, that no matter what you do, everyday life you are paying a 20% tax because of corruption. And that needs to be eradicated. We don't deserve to pay that tax. Sree HEGHDE, formerly Tony Stark. Why can't archaeological department go for search of all scripts present all over India and try to digitize it? Actually, everything is known. Everything is known. It can be re-established, but why do it? What is there? Are you going to claw money back from an MP or an MLA? You think that's so easy? The guy has 100 goons. What does the ASI officer have? You saw what happened to the ED officers when they went to raid some of Sendil Balaji's associates' properties. They got beaten up. One lady officer had a broken arm. FIRs have been filed. Why do you think Sendil Balaji was given the treatment he got? The guy was asking for it. Brazen. Anyway, I'm just giving you an idea as to how bad things are right now. We have still a lot more comments to go. Stone wants to know, when will the Deshdrohi laws come into effect? And when will we get rid of the Waqf board? Not so easy, Stone. It didn't happen in a day. It's not going to go away in a day. Okay. There are several cases in the southern part of, in fact, most of India, where a culprit, a criminal, a murderer, when NIA or CBI or any investigative agency goes to apprehend him, the locals gather around this person and don't allow him to be arrested. You saw that recently in Manipur. Not only that, the women started disrobing so that somebody will take the video and splash it across the international papers, international media. Guys, people have lost their radar about what is right and what is wrong. That is what we are having today in our hands, on our hands. Next question, please. M.V. Sridhar wants to know, sir, it was a Puja Dayananda Saraswati who restarted Puja in Thanjavur in 2000. Can you imagine? No Puja was done for years. And that was because there wasn't any money. And I have spoken to the Raja of Thanjavur, is a good friend of mine. He walked me through. In fact, his interview is on Apiguru's Tamil. Those of you who understand Tamil, go and look for Thanjavur or Baba Raja Bhosle. And you will get the interview. It's a two-part interview. You can understand how painful it was to resurrect the temple back to the condition where people could actually go back and start worshipping there. Next question, please. Sivarama Brahma Reddy Rami Reddy. Information being given is making the blood of Hindus boil. But what poor Hindus can do? Well, first things first, right? Let us visit our temples. When we go to our village, let us go to our temple. 1 day, 1 hour, find out what is there, what is missing, what is not there. See if you can help. Some temples don't even have money to buy oil so that they can light a lamp. Things are that bad. I mean, and it doesn't cost much money. You can have a recurring payment like 100 rupees a month or something of that nature, which goes to the priest's bank account, and then he can use that money to, buy oil for lighting lamps. Once something like that happens, soon the murti will disappear, and even if 10 pilgrims or worshippers used to come, they will stop, and the land becomes ripe for conversion. I mean, conversion picked up in the southern state because of this. There was a thriving racket of murti smugglers, and the first thing they would do was go and identify the areas which are rich for conversion, meaning that a lot of SC/ST population. Then they'll find out which temple they are going to frequent. Then they go and steal that murti. Once the murti is gone, people don't go to the temple, and that's when they start, working it, saying, "Oh well, if you believe in your murti, what happened to him? Somebody stole it. Our Jesus will return it for you." This is all bunkum nonsense. They make all these theatrical things where somebody will sprinkle water and someone who can't walk starts walking. All nonsense, all lies. Light a lamp under the butt and see how the person runs. Before he's supposed to be like he can't walk, he'll be in a armchair. Light a fire under their butt and see how magically they are cured even before the holy water is sprinkled on them. We don't do it. Why can't 10 Hindus go and start disrupting these lies? These are just plain lies, guys. Even Nirmala Sitharaman got fooled once. She gave permission for a Christian conversion event. It was a 2-day event. Only after the first day, when some people went and shouted and said that you cannot use defense property for conversion, that the next day's order was rescinded. And you know who fooled her? The son of KCR. That letter is also there. That article is also there in P Gurus. Guys, I have written a lot of investigative journalism in my small career of 8-9 years as a journalist. Okay. And the reason I'm writing all these books now is because no investigative action happens. Nothing ever gets fixed. And I have a few more cases that I'm looking at right now where the KCR family is intent on making money off of that. And nothing, once the big popular politician gets his eyes right, everything gets cleared. Nobody wants to go and fight them in the case. Judges are compliant. The whole system works for them. What do you do then? A lot of challenges, guys. A lot of challenges. I'm not making it up. If once you go and see for yourself, that's when you realize what we are up against. Jayaraman Surya Narayanan wants to know, in Thanjavur temple, only Varagi god is available. The Raja Raja Chola will get the blessings of Varagi before any war. Varagi is powerful devata, kindly confirm. I don't know, Jayaraman. I also know that there are the 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙀𝘀 devatas. That is for the 8 directions. You know, Hinduism believes in 8 directions. Not just north, south, east, west, but northeast, southwest. You get the idea, right? So the 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙤𝑃𝑎lakas, they are called 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝑃𝑎lakas. They are also there in the temple. It's a marvelous temple. You need a day to visit it because the carvings are so perfectly preserved. 1,000 years old temple, and everything is magical. Everything is magical. There are lots of videos on YouTube about the big temple. Do watch them because some people have spent the time, even capturing intricate iconography from there, and it's just beautiful, beautiful. Next question, please. Jemmy wants to know, what is BJP doing? In 9 years, they haven't freed temples, didn't implement CAA, NRC, didn't ban Waqf Act. Well, I have been saying this for a long time, right? I have been saying that all of us can write to our elected MP and ask them what is happening. And if you're afraid that they'll come knocking on your door, I told you, you can create a Proton Mail account that gives you the anonymity. You don't even have to put your name. You can say 007. You can say James Bond. You can say corruption killer at protonmail.com. Whatever name you want to give. Nobody will know. But the important thing is you have to be factual and say that, well, what are you going to do about it? And if they get 5,000 letters from one constituency, believe me, they will start raising this in Lok Sabha. Because 5,000 will be a big number for them to ignore. That's 5,000 people, there are 5,000 families. Suddenly the number you're looking at is 20,000. That will put the fear of God in their hearts. That's what we need to do. Because this doesn't take us any extra effort. I'm not asking you to go to the temple. I'm not asking you to ghero anybody. I'm not asking you to break any laws. Just from the comfort of your bedroom, your living room, wherever you have your computers, maybe it's your living room on your lap while you're watching TV, whatever it is, you can do it from there. It's very, very easy. Go to protonmail.com, set up an account, and start shooting emails from there. Next question, please. 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙀𝘀𝘀, I think I got it right. In one travel vlog, I came across a part about a small temple in Turkey. Still, some is lighting lamp. Yeah, what was there before Christianity came along? It was Sanatana Dharma. If you start looking at some of the Iliads and other things from Homer, or even the stories around Bible, right? Everything will have a parallel in India, like whether it is in Bhagavatam or Mahabharatam or Ramayana. These stories happen there. They just change the names and characters. It is as simple as that. People are not so educated. Everybody heard something when they were traveling, and then they said, okay, I'll bring it back to my country and make it look as if it happened in my country, and the names got changed. Of course, their memories were not very clear. Nobody wrote anything down. So stories just developed. That's what it is. India was, is, and will be the cradle of civilization. Hindian wants to know, please name the sub-registrar. Thanks for the Gurumurthy link. You have to go back and take a look at that. There are not that many people. I think action has been taken. What is action taken? They'll transfer him. They won't suspend him. They won't fire him. They won't dismiss him. This is a problem with the Indian administration. I don't know what happens. You see, 40 odd people who are not Hindus were employed by the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, and they were given show cause notice. You know what they did? They went to Andhra Pradesh High Court and got a stay order. This happened 2 years ago. Why has the stay not been vacated? You have to ask the Jagannath Reddy government. And he will not do anything. Why? Because the 40 infringers are all Christians. People have to think. You have to connect the dots, guys. How many things can, 5 or 6 of us keep on raising? I mean, after some point of time, right, we'll all also get tired. My good friend Prakash Rao from Dallas, who runs the GHHF, I think, Global Hindu something Federation. He has been fighting a lone battle. He goes and reconverts back. But it is one man, he's in his 80s, he's being very, very brisk, and he needs help. GHHF. But all of us have to pitch in. We make a promise to ourselves that when we go back home, like I said, first start by visiting your family temple, your village temple. See what is wrong. See what you can do for them. When once these things happen, awareness happens. People start feeling pride in their temple, their heritage, their culture. Every temple has a Puran behind it. It's called Sthala Puranam. That means the place's history. And amazing history has been recorded, remembered for thousands of years, passed by way of word of mouth. And we are just letting it all fritter away for a few pieces of silver. Next question. K.S. Suresh Babu wants to know, there should be some mechanism to manage our temples on the lines of the trust constituted by the Supreme Court to manage Ayodhya temple. Yes, there is. It is possible. It's not that hard. Take the top 10 revenue generating temples, okay? Let us put something in place, perfect the system, and then start spreading it out to the next set of temples. There are any number of distinguished people from all walks of life, many honest judges, honest politicians, honest lawyers, honest doctors, who will be very happy to do this thing as part of their lives so that they feel like they have been doing something meaningful. I'm very serious about it because I know a lot of groups where these are being discussed now. The point is, who is going to first get control? TTD is definitely the one that I would look for. TTD, the Padmanabha Swami Temple. Padmanabha Swami Temple is in a bit of a grey area, but it's still being governed by controlled by the Kerala government, which is atheist. These people buggers don't believe in God. Why do they want to get into temple management then? Stay out. Anyway, so this has been happening for a long time because it's just like good, right? They want that go and steal the money from there. So Ananta Padmanabha Swami Temple in Kerala and a whole bunch of temples, Guruvayur Temple, Palani Temple, and so on and so forth. There are lots of temples, about 10, 15, I would say, which bring in a lot of money. These are the ones that need to be taken out of government control. Good trusts have to be established with good corrective mechanisms, good control checks and balances so that nobody runs away with money. And once all that happens, believe me, things will start becoming better. And I'm hoping that all this will start happening after 2024. Next question, please. Professor Sethunaman wants to say, now you can find churches and mosques everywhere in Thanjavur district. Yes, I've been telling you, Thanjavur district, Tiruchi city is a mess to drive around, guys. You know why? There is way too much PFI activity there. There are only 2 or 3 main roads, and these main roads have these blockades. It's like a maze. If you can picture mazes, like for example, like this. Okay, the car. These are the 2 blocks. Okay, cylindrical concrete blocks. The car has to wind in like this and wind out like this, and these are all coming every 50 meters apart. Can you believe, can you imagine driving through this? I did it once and my head spun because we were on a time constraint and we needed to get to a place quickly, and the driver took some impossible risks. Zigzag, 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 zigzag. Whole of Tiruchi city was like that. This was before the PFI action had happened, and now I'm hoping that it has become a little bit better, but I doubt it. I mean, they are coming out of the woodworks. Thank you, Gyan. Both the minority communities work very systematically in these matters. Sanatan Dharma has to do the same to stand a chance. Respect you, Sree. Thank you so much. See, the point here is once Uniform Civil Code is enacted, then the Modi government has to crack the whip that even though the police belongs to the state government, the police needs to get to act on all these things quickly, and they have to implement it uniformly. The police will do their job. Right now, the problem is that politicians are interfering in their lives way too much. And if they don't agree to verbal orders of politicians, they get transferred out. Unfortunately for them, they bribe to get to the positions in cities where they believe that they can get a lot of mamul, which is mula, which is kickbacks. And therefore, this has become a vicious cycle now. Next question, please. Shan wants to know, Sree Iyer ji, a few months back on 𝗼𝗏 𝗢𝙗𝙀 podcast, Dr. 𝗂𝗂𝘁 Mohammed said, in spite of his hopes, Modi government has done little to improve the archaeological department funding. Yes, it is one of those things that has been a big disappointment. In fact, Dr. 𝗂𝗂𝘁 Mohammed had come on my channel to talk about the 𝗣𝗚𝗏𝗄𝗏 caves. I think you may have seen that interview. I think it's 2 parts, if I'm not wrong. Go and watch that. See how from a rubble a Shiva temple emerged, because Shiva came in his dreams and he told him exactly where he was. These things do happen in modern day, guys. And he explains that thing. It's a fantastic story that he related. And he was promised some help by Infosys chairman's wife, Sudha Murthy. I don't know what happened of that. She had planned. I think there are 200 temples destroyed because there was a massive earthquake in the 𝗣𝗚𝗏𝗄𝗏 caves area. I think he has already restored 80 or so. 120 more temples need to be restored. A lot of work to be done, a lot of money to be put in, but he is willing to do the hard work. The hard work is in taking all this rubble and making sense of it. And Dr. Mohammed is ready to do that. And they are not getting young. Next question, please. Neelima Tripathi, thank you so much for your generous donation. We need to know more about temples in South India. I'll be happy to do that, Neelima. In fact, I have a follow-up on various Nataraja idols I came across. See, right by the side of this temple is the Thanjavur palace, where the king resides. And inside the palace, there are a couple of things. There's one thing called as Saraswati Mahal, which is a huge library. And the other one is there's a museum where you can see Natarajas from 10th century, 11th century, 12th century, 14th century, 15th century, beautifully done. Single stone cast. And I have videos of those things. I will share that in the next couple of days as soon as I have a video put together that strings all these things well. And I'm very happy to bring that to you. So stay tuned. I realize that this is an important task and it's an important responsibility, and I intend to discharge that with full seriousness. You have Praveen Mohan's videos also. Very, very insightful. Very insightful. Rajendra Dubey says, sir, Agni Puja by Parsian is any relation with Sanatan? Yes. Zoroastrianism, all these are all Sanatanism, guys. In fact, of the 5 Panchabhutas, right, Agni is considered the most special, which is why we do Sat Fere around Agni. Any puja, you have to have a homam. Only then you have the phal from the puja. Anything we do, even little things, we light, well, agarbatti when you light is really, it's actually the equivalent of putting a small lamp. Some places we just put the agarbatti. Some people do the lamp and agarbatti. That is exactly what it is. When you do puja, you have to have a lamp burning. Fire god is everything. Next one. I think that brings us to a close of this monologue. Thanks for watching, guys. 10 a.m. is very early. Many of you probably are watching it from work. Go back to work. But thanks for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.